Welcome to the Community Collective Podcast, a flip-flop agent production in collaboration with the Davison Area Chamber of Commerce. I am your host, Johnny B. Good.
Welcome to a new edition of the Community Collective Podcast. I am Travis Howell, the Executive Director of the Davison Area Chamber, and I am very excited today to have someone I have had opportunity to get to know over the past couple years. We are joined today by the Davison Township Treasurer, Tim Green. Tim, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Travis. It's a pleasure. I really enjoy what you guys are doing. I listen to your podcast all the time, and it's just really good, positive feeling. And I think that's what we need more in the community and outside the community, because in the United States, with all the negative things that are going on, it's nice for people to hear positive sides of things rather than constantly the negative side. I really like what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Yeah, that's our big goal. Is our area offers so much to people, and this is another way that we thought would be a great way to just introduce people to the community more, to get new updates out there. That is the main purpose, and I know that's what we all have a passion for, is serving our community and just talking to residents. Tim, one of the things that I have always enjoyed getting the opportunity to ask people is, fill us in on your background. What areas have you worked in? What areas have you invested your time? And explain a little bit about your background to us, please.
Yeah, I appreciate it. First of all, actually, I'm not a Michigan native. I was born and raised in California I was actually born in Burbank, California. And then my parents decided to move to Michigan because my father was from Michigan. He's over in Jonesville, which is near Coldwater. So we came to Michigan. And basically, when I was in high school, I started in the fast food business. In fact, one of my first jobs was McDonald's. And this was before they had 900 stores is all they had. And we didn't have drive-thrus. We didn't have dining rooms. This was back in 1972. They just had breakfast. It was ironic. What you would do is where the area where they would walk into the McDonald's to place their order, each morning we would take the chairs that you use, that like the high school stuff for the kids, it's got the desk to it all in one. And we'd carry those up from downstairs. And then we would serve egg McMuffin. And we had these fantastic donuts, these sour cream donuts that you would dip in the vats and everything. So anyhow, I started there, and with them, it was a really good, strong background for me, because McDonald's believes in being consistent in what you're doing. If it's working, don't make a lot of changes to it. So it gave me a good background of what I need to do to be successful in business. And then in 1984, I started in my own business. And one of the things I used to own, in fact, there was one here in Davison, was the A&W restaurants.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then I switched it after a while, because what they did is they tried to make A&W just like McDonald's, and that was a big mistake. They should have stayed with car hop service and open seasonal and all the things that people like about A&W. Anyhow, then I switched over to a thing called 38-cent Express, which is a 38-cent hamburger, 38-cent fry, and 38-cent drink. And it was mega successful. The only problem is my partner that I had didn't believe we could make money at those prices, which I proved to him, but that's here nor there. So then he actually sold that to Lucky, from Lucky Steakhouse. And then, of course, now it's a Mexican restaurant, but here in Davison. And my education background is I have 2 associate's degrees, one in marketing and one in business management, that I got from Davenport College, because I was in the Navy. And when I got out, of course, one of the cool things back then is the government paid for your education. And it's ironic, though, but Davenport College only had a 2-year degree. They convinced me that I'd be better if I had 2 associate's degrees first before I went to get my bachelor's. Well, then all the money ran out, Travis. So here I am with 2 associates. I said, why do you have 2 associates again? So I don't know. Davenport taught me into it. It made sense to me at the time, but it's worked well for me. That's like my education background. And moved into the Davison area in 1988. That's when I moved in this area because of A&W restaurants. We opened up a store here in town, and I really liked the community. My wife really liked the community. And so what we did is we actually bought a place in Davison. The Collingwood subdivision is where our first home was that we moved into. And so we've been around this area a long time. And it's just a good example. And I know that you're interviewing me on this area. I'm not trying to do this because you're on it, but one of the things is the reason why I love Davison so much. It's like people like you. You're involved in the community. You're positive. You're looking for better ways to do things. And that's the kind of people that live in Davison. I think people overall are very positive. They get involved in the community. And you could tell by Pumpkin Fest, your Festival of Flags that we've been doing at the Chamber of Commerce for a long time, the church organizations, Outreach East, and the list goes on and on. And that's what I love about Davison. It's just, and I'm sure the same thing, because I think you've been here now 12 years, if I remember right.
Pretty close. Yeah, just a little bit longer. We moved to Davison. Oh my goodness. So I've been in Michigan for almost 18 years, but I moved around a little bit once I got up here.
You've been here 18 years. And I remember you telling me about how you just couldn't believe how everybody brought you in. You weren't an outsider, and they got you involved in different things and all these things. So that's basically my background in education. Mostly always worked for myself. And my big background at that time was in restaurants. Now, I don't own any restaurants anymore. I also used to own the hot dog stand at Grand Blanc, which used to be called Kevin. I also used to own that place too. So that was my background. And now, of course, I'm a real estate broker. Don't really do too much with that right now, but I'm a real estate broker and I own a couple other businesses. One is a golf store in the Villages in Florida. And then I've also got a distribution company where we focus on pet treats. That's a little bit of my background.
You served in the Navy, you've worked in fast food, and then got degrees while attending college, and then started your own businesses. And it's a variety of businesses, which I find very fascinating. Like having a golf store and then also doing something with pet treats. Talk about a variety right there. I love that. And I think that's always the interesting thing, like you said, about here in Davison, is we have so many people with different backgrounds, interested in so many different things, but we all seem to come together when it's community events or at our local churches. And I think you explained it right there. That's where I felt welcome. And that's what my hope is with other people that are deciding to move here or say, hey, where's a good community to raise a family? Right here, Davison schools, our local businesses, everything that's going on here is really a good draw. And Tim, I think you are a great example of just explaining the wide variety of things that we offer people, I appreciate that a lot. And that kind of leads me into something else. I know in my role with the chamber, I've always looked back at the history of things, and we have talked. I know that at one point you were very involved in the chamber, which is always exciting for me because I can learn from people that have been in the chamber world. But what are some of the things that you enjoyed about the chamber when you served? And I know you've always been active in the community in other areas too.
I started actually with the Davison Area Chamber of Commerce in 1988 because I had the restaurants that I had, AEW restaurants. So I got involved with the chamber, and it's ironic that after we opened up the AEW restaurant, and I was actually over at the Festival of Flags, and I was helping Jack Smith and Kevin Hammer and a variety of Kay Iddens and Debbie Mott, and there was a group of us and Tony Houston and that were on the board and everything, and we were actually running the Festival of Flags over at Regional Park. They had actually where the skateboard thing is and the sledding hill and stuff. Right there, they actually put power in for us and everything else to run our rides and everything. But the problem was, if it rained, it got muddy and it was a mess. And one year it did that. We had to sit there, get straw and try to put it down. And people were trying to go into the beer tent, and they were dressed up and they're falling on us and everything else. So this is where we moved a little bit. But anyhow, when I got involved in it, it was ironic. I was at a festival, the Festival of Flags, and my wife came over to me and says, hey, I think I found a house for us. I said, really? Where? She said, in Collingwood. And so we fell in love with the house, and we actually bought the house and on that. But then Kevin Hammer was the president of the Davison Chamber of Commerce. And he works for GTE, the phone company. And they transferred him to, I think it was somewhere in Indiana, Indianapolis or something in Indiana. So then I took over as president for the Davison Area Chamber of Commerce and did that for a couple of years. And then I stayed on the board on that. But what I loved about the chamber is just like today with the chamber, if you get involved, Travis, you're going to have a whole group of people that are going to be your friends. And you're trying to do one common thing, and that's promote Davison and the great things it has to offer in business and everything. And you have a lot of friends that are friends with you for life, because Jack Smiths and these guys, all that I still talk to occasionally and this type of thing. And we became friends, but we were excited. We were involved in the chamber. We did some really great things that we were in there and that type of thing. So that's what I love most about it, is the camaraderie, that you have this group of people that you get to know and everything like that. And you enjoy being around, and we all got one purpose in mind, and that's to help promote the area and also the businesses in the area.
But I sometimes refer to it when I'm talking to my wife as like, all right, I'm going to go spend some time with my chamber family when we have events and stuff, because you spend so much time with these people that are serving the community on the board or volunteering, and you really get to know them and know about their families. And like you said, it's family focused on so many community events. And it is, you really do get to know and become really good friends with people. And I think that's the right thing. The camaraderie is something the chamber offers people. And that's what I'm sure just the history you all built helped make our chamber survive and exist and grow to what it is today, which I'm thankful for. One, because it's my job, but also just because you do how different organizations can work together, whether it's the chamber in a municipality or a chamber and a nonprofit or anything like that. And it's where we can just come together and work. And that's where you make those connections. Someone that you might have questions with about finances is part of the chamber. You can reach out to them and talk to them, or they are someone that owns like an event planning and they can be part of volunteering. And you're right. You start finding out really where people are interested in serving and really getting to know them. And so it's time with the chamber family, but it also includes your regular family that you live with.
Exactly. And it's interesting what you said. What's really cool with the Davison Area Chamber is that when you get in there and you're involved, if you need carpet cleaned, there's somebody in the chamber where you can trust them and that they're going to come in and do the job correctly and these type of things. And it's something that's triggered the other day. I was thinking about this, is they had the thing on the news, I think it was ABC News, is the percentage is super high, Travis, of people that are bored and lonely and depressed. And I think about, if you just get involved in your community, just take one group and get involved, and I promise you, you won't be bored or lonely again. Because like the chamber, you'll have a lot of events you get involved in, that kind of thing. But most of these people, they just go home. And the sad thing is, the ones that are the loneliest and are bored the most are the younger kids. They're not getting involved in any of these things anymore. We used to. It was always common place when I was growing up that you got involved with the Kiwanis and the Optimists and all these different groups that are out there. And you do that. For example, I'm a member of the Knights of Columbus and these type of things. So you get involved with them. If you're bored or you're lonely, just start getting involved in somebody's group. Just get involved in one and then watch what starts happening. So I just thought it was very ironic that they were talking about that on TV, and there's a pretty simple solution to that: get involved in your community.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think all of this information we've been talking about really leads into the next part pretty good and probably help prepare you for your new role. So you're currently the Davison Township Treasurer. So share with our listeners a little bit, but that might not have an idea of what that role entails or responsibilities. So tell us a little bit about what the treasurer does for a township.
Yeah, and I think that's a great question. To make it very simple, is there's four departments. There's five with the parks. I'm just talking about in our office. There's four different parts. There's the building, there's the township supervisor, the clerk's department, and the treasurer. To make this kind of easy, the treasurer's department takes the money in. We're responsible for collecting it, making sure it balances to the penny. We cannot ever not have our books balanced no matter what. If we don't balance, we have to find it and correct it on that. And then, so we take the money in, and then my responsibility as treasurer is to take and invest the money correctly within the guidelines that the state and the federal government has laid out, that you can't go into any risky type of investments. This type of thing has got to be something that, like a CD or whatever, that has a guaranteed rate of return, or the actual the liabilities is on it is pretty low with that kind of thing, that the risks that are involved in it. The clerk's department disperses the money. They take care of the checks, sending those out, processing the bills. They're also the ones that run the election. And so that's the part that they do. Of course, the supervisor oversees the total township, but my department, it's my responsibility 100%. Michael Leffler, as the clerk, that's his responsibility 100%. Jim's responsibility is to make sure overall that the chambers run correctly. And then, of course, the building department is making sure that our codes and ordinances and everything else is being followed correctly. Like right now, we had all this hail. Unfortunately, people lost their roofs and their siding. You couldn't even imagine, Travis, how many building permits we have sitting here, stacks and stacks. It's tragic how many people's homes got damaged by just that short period of time with that hail. I don't know, did you have your car or your house get damaged?
Actually, my car got dinged up a little bit, but we were very fortunate that where our house is, we didn't have any hail in our neighborhood. So just a lot of rain. So we were very fortunate through all of that. But I know it is, I can't imagine on your rural side, I drive around and see what people are going through and the repair work that's going on still months later. And I know the township plays a role in making sure it's done efficiently, done the correct way, because I know there's a lot of scams out there that people are having to deal with. And I think, from my understanding, the township helps make sure things are done the right way, and they're aware of the building individuals that are out there doing this work as well. So,
no, that's totally true. They have to take pictures. There's something you put down. It's called fire ice material that you put down first. It has to be 6 feet, I think, wide. And this is so that with the rain and everything else that's going on, because everything goes down hill, so that it takes and collects it and correctly and doesn't damage your house. And then also, if you have ice or whatever, that it helps protect the house. But that's what we do. Now, we have another side. Not only am I treasurer and run a department that I have, and I'm very proud of Chris and Lois. They're fantastic. And we want to make sure that people are taken care of and that we respect them. When they come in, we try to get the transaction done as fast as possible. Like, one of the things that I did when I came in as treasurer is I wanted to make sure that drive-through was open at all times. And because they used to, what they would do, if the inside was open, they would not have the drive-through open. And I didn't want that. I wanted the drive-through open all the time, because older people, if it's raining out or snowing like it did on Halloween, you can you don't have to get in a car. And a lot of people don't even know we have a drive-through. And the drive-through is on the east side of the building. But anyhow, for other roles, we're a board member, and we meet at least once a month. And you come to a lot of those meetings. And you used to be a trustee with Davison Township.
yes.
And then we're making the overall decisions of the township, how we're going to spend the money, what we're going to do as far as operationally, what's best for our community. And when I ran as treasurer, Travis, I said, and a lot of people tried to correct me on this, if I get elected, I'm going to run it like a business. And I say, you don't understand. This is a municipality. This is not a business. I said, I don't understand that. You take the money in, you send the money out, and hopefully by the end of the day, you have money left over. It sounds to me a little bit like a business. When I came in here, because of all my experience with fast food and all the businesses I've owned, I looked at our department and said, how can we make this more efficient? How can we get our people through? And one of the things I did, if you can believe this or not, when people pay their taxes, a lot of them pay cash. Like, Travis, $3,000-$4,000, right?
Oh my goodness, yes.
So they'll hand it to us and they'll say, I'm not really sure how much I'm giving you. Can you verify? If you don't have a number that they think that they gave you, so you count the money over and over again, you put it in stacks. I said, this is crazy. So I found out, you go to the bank And you know how they have those machines that you throw the money, it goes, did you in a few
Oh,
seconds,
yes.
10 seconds, it
Counts it
counts.
out.
We invested in it. So now what we do is when someone gives us money, right in plain sight, we carry it over that machine. It checks it all. It checks it for counterfeit money too, which unfortunately is a problem out there every once in a while. And then it gives us a receipt. It shows how much they gave us. And then boom, where it used to take us 4 or 5 minutes to verify it, we verify the money in 10 seconds. We added different things into the department. It was an excellent running department. All we did was just make a couple changes there. So there's the treasurer's part that I'm responsible for. And then I'm also a member of the board that's making decisions overall for the township. So hopefully people understand. So anything has to do with money, taking money in, we're the people. And I've always got an open door policy. People can call me anytime they want. They want us to check up on their taxes have been paid, or if their water bill's been taken care of or whatever. We're the ones that are going to take care of all that. And unfortunately, December 1st, taxes bills are going to be sent out again because you pay twice a year, the summer taxes and the winter, and they have till February 28th to pay their winter and summer taxes. They can still pay their summer tax right now, but there's a penalty. But after February 28th, they have to go to Genesee County to pay their taxes because we can't accept it after that date.
Okay. Yeah. And I think what I like about this too is everything you just shared. It's working to make the treasurer's department more efficient, more accessible to residents, especially with the drive-through. I know I've used the drive-through myself when I've dropped off my water and sewer bill, and it makes it very nice because I know it's going to get in there. It's going to be kept safe. And then that your department is going to be every day checking that and keeping up with it. I think that's something good for residents to know, that drive-through, and they can talk to you all as well if they have questions and don't want to come in, which is great. And I love too, from everything you've mentioned, it's that team atmosphere. I'm sure like any team, there's going to be disagreements, but that's where you have discussions and you work through it. And I think that's the nice thing is that you have your treasurer's department, that's a team, but then you guys are also interacting with the building department and with the supervisor's office and the clerks and the trustees. So everybody is working together for our township and for our residents. And I know myself, I have a background where I worked in Lansing for a while and answering phones and talking to people. Everyone's always going to be happy, but it's, I feel like municipalities are the close-knit group of government that you're going to see your neighbor at the grocery store. You're going to see your neighbor when you go out for a walk or at a community event, and it gives them a chance to ask questions or to say, hey, I wasn't happy with this. Or they can say, hey, maybe you guys should try this next time. And I think that's the good thing about local elected officials and their teams is they're everywhere. It's not just like you guys are work here in Davison and then you drive an hour away and don't live here. So I think that's the nice thing for listeners and people to realize is this local government is a way for you to be involved and to talk to people that you're going to run into, like yourself as a treasurer. Someone's going to see you locally and be able to talk to you.
Yeah, and I think it's important. What's interesting, they did a survey on which part of government do people trust the most, the federal government, the state government, or your local government, the township or the city. And of course, township and cities came in number one because the people you interact with them, it's not like you have to go through 5 layers to try to get to somebody. We're here, we're accessible at all times. And another thing, real quick to mention on this, us collecting for the taxes and the water bill and any other fee that's involved, the building permits or whatever, is if they go to our website, Travis, we have right on there, we have a tax bill. And then we explain all these codes. What is a unit OP? It's on your tax list. You go, what the heck is that? That's a township operating part of it. A unit police, understand culture. What the heck is that? That's Genesee County Arts, Education, and Cultural Enrichment. So we lay the bill out so they can see it and understand where is their money going. And out of all that money that comes in, Travis, the township only gets 8%. That's what we get. And I didn't know that when I ran as treasurer, that we only brought 8% in of the total of all revenue. That's what we get. So even if we were to tell them, you don't have to pay the township any more money whatsoever. Their taxes are not going to go down significantly because it's all these other things that you have to pay for. But we try to lay it out so that people can understand it. And then anytime they call us and they got questions like, on my taxes went up, why did they go up? Did my value of my house go up or not? And I tell people they have a thing called a taxable value. Let's just say you bought your house for $100,000 30 years ago. Your taxable value is $50,000. That will never change unless you remodel, put a deck on, or redo your basement or whatever. It will not change no matter what. Why does your taxes go up then? Either it's because we vote in a bond for the schools or whatever special assessment. And there's also mandated by the state, your taxes will go up each year, your property tax based on inflation. And unfortunately, we've had high inflation in the last few years, but that's the only way it'll go up. So when you own a house for 30 years, that taxable value, not the assessed value, the taxable value stays the same. And people don't know that. And so they think, geez, my taxes won't way up because you guys sit there and had someone drive around and look in our windows and then bring the price and value of our property up. No, that $50,000 taxable value when you bought the house for $100,000, that stays the same. And I don't think a lot of people know that either, Travis.
And I think that's something else that helps residents know. I'll be honest, when I moved up here to Michigan and I started getting these, it was first time home buyer trying to figure it out. That would have been a great resource to be able to look over something and understand it better. So yeah, no, that is really good. I love that. And I think that's what it's the township, and you look at like the city of Davison, Richfield Township, they're there to provide resources and information to residents just to make life hopefully a little bit easier to understand or simpler, which is nice. But now, Tim, something I'd like to finish up with, and it's combining two questions. I mean, we've covered a lot of it before, but over the years, you've been involved in several different organizations. But part of that, what is one of your favorite parts of our community that we live in?
I think my favorite part is, first of all, safety. You don't sit here. You got to make sure that you do things. I lock my doors in my house every night, that kind of thing. But you don't even think twice about going out and walking your neighborhood. And we've got an excellent police force in the city of Davison, Richfield Township, and Davison Township, and they all work together. So first of all, it's very important that you feel safe. Now, granted, every municipality's got crime. It's just the way it is. But I think what we do is we do a really good job of enforcing the laws and the rules and making sure that people understand that, hey, if you get out of line, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen to you. But if you stay in line, things are exciting, that type of thing. The other thing I love about it, to tell you the truth, if you think about it, is that, first of all, we don't deal with traffic that much. Yeah, right now, Irish Road is backed up a little bit and that kind of thing. But if that would happen over in Detroit, they'd be backed up for 10 miles trying to get through that. But the cool thing is we can go to Detroit in about an hour. We can go to Lansing in about an hour. We can go to Saginaw in about 30, 40 minutes. Bay City in about an hour. We go to Grand Rapids in 2.5 hours. So we have the advantage. We can go to these bigger cities in Michigan, or we go to Traverse City in 3.5 hours, whatever. But we're in an area that we have all the benefits of not having the traffic, low crime rate, a lot of camaraderie out there with organizations, and when people have something happens to them, the community jumps in and tries to help them out and these type of things. And that's what I love. Absolutely. What I love about Davison is just the feeling of being safe, that if you get in a jam, that there's people out there going to help you, and that the community as a whole really, truly care about the community. And they also care about the individuals that live in our community. And that's what I love about it. But if I could say one more thing, I'd like to, it's just to wrap this up, is can I mention some of the things that are going on in Davison Township? Because there's a lot of rumors floating out there about different businesses that are coming in or not coming in, that kind of thing. But I can share a few things with you if you got just one more minute.
Yeah, we got a couple of minutes.
Okay, good.
I would love
to wrap this up. First of all, we got ALDI's coming in, the grocery store. They're going to go in front of Menards. That's going to happen. Of course, we've got Starbucks coming in over at Meyer. In front of there, it's going to have a drive-through. I know we have one in ZG's too, but this one's going to have a drive-through. We've got a hotel coming in next to Meyer. I think, don't hold me to it, but I think it's a Holiday Inn Express, I think is going in there. We have a tire store coming in. So we'll have a tire store that will be over there in the Meyer in that area too. As far as, of course, we have the pub.
Yeah, Hamlin
Yeah.
Pub. I'm excited about that. Wow, look at all the stuff that's coming to our community. People want to be part of Davison.
Right. We've got a Dollar General going in across the street, right next to the hub, which used to be the Knights of Columbus. That's going in there. We have Popeyes. We don't know what's going on there. They still say they're going to do it, but that's where those two houses are on 15, right next to our State Road, right next to Tim Hortons. That's happening. And then another one that's true too. I'm probably going to mess up the name, but the Mexican restaurant that's at Court Street, that's in Court Street Mall.
Yes, El Cosmel.
Yeah, good.
Yes,
there you go. Cosmel.
There you go. Yes,
the Big Boy restaurant that was bought by Panda Express. They were going to put a Panda Express there, then they decided not to for whatever reasons. So then he bought the building. So there's going to be it's going to be a Mexican restaurant that's also going there. So there's some really exciting things, and there's other things that we can't share yet. We do have also one last one. We do have Target trying to come in. The problem is they want to be behind Dairy Queen and the Detroit Links and that. But unfortunately, they don't have enough parking. They're trying to figure out how to solve that. I don't know. It's probably a 50-50 chance that they're coming in. And most people are really excited about this. Some people say, hey, I want to keep it the small town atmosphere and everything. But people want to live in Davison. That's why people move here. And if you're going to live here, we got to have some different amenities and things that we can offer to our residents. So we can't stop anybody from coming here if they fall within the zoning and planning ordinances that we have. You can't stop them.
Right.
But if there's any of that they're violating, we can't. So some people say, oh, the last thing we need is another restaurant. Why do you guys keep opening up? We can't stop them. They'll go to court and they'll do it. But those are some of the really exciting things that are going on in the community as a whole.
This is amazing. I love it. This is why it's so great to have, I think, this communication method for our residents. It's a great way to set it straight of, hey, these are exciting growth opportunities that are coming in our community. And Tim, our population and residents they're really growing here. People are having kids. People are moving here and building new homes. And this is a great way to say, hey, we offer this for families. There's no reason that you have to leave the Davison area because we can provide it all, but we also live close enough to other communities to enjoy them. So, Tim, thank you so much. This is exciting. All of these we just listed.
I enjoyed it immensely, and I hope that you guys asked me to come on. I have no problem coming on every quarter or whatever and filling you guys in on new things, because there's these rumors get out here, and then they multiply and all this, and they say this is going to happen in this. I always tell people, if you're curious, you just pick up the phone and call us. But yeah, please have me on in the future. I applaud you and what Johnny's doing with this. Didn't you just get some kind of endorsement or something that just happened with your podcast?
So we've grown our podcast enough with followers and everything, and we just started streaming it on to Apple, Google, and Spotify. So not only are we just sharing it locally on Facebook with residents, but we're starting to grow and promote Davison on larger levels now, which is we're excited about, and something new that we're trying to see how, especially with this growth of all of these things, this is a great way to get that out there and let people know Davison's the place to be on these larger platforms.
Yeah, and I applaud that, because I like to say Davison's the best kept secret. And it's just great to live here, and I have no plans to go anywhere else. I don't plan on going back to California. I don't plan on going. I might go visit, of course, Florida, that kind of thing, but this is my home. And that's what a lot of people are. Once they get to Davison, they just don't leave. They love it here. But yeah, you can let me know in the future. I'm more than happy to come on and fill in the residents about what's going on in Davison Township. And please also, if anyone wants to get a hold of me and talk to me, the township's number is 810-653-4156, 653-4156, and I'm always available. Just have them give me a call.
What an amazing episode this week. A huge thank you to Tim Green for taking some time to share his background with us and clue us in on some of the great things happening in Davison. We use this platform to keep you informed and would love to interact with you and answer any questions you might have. Our email is in the show notes, and we'd love to hear your questions, concerns, and to let us know who we should have on the pod. Thanks for listening, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, support locally owned and operated businesses every chance you get. Until next week, I am the flip-flop agent, Johnny B. Good. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Community Collective Podcast.